I'm gonna just jump right into this today because this is the weirdest thing that's I've heard. So basically, I was watching stories on the Epstein files, and I was like going, okay, let me see if I can get chatbot to write me a story on the Epstein files, and it did. But before we get into it, I'm gonna let you hear the story. Here's the story right here, okay? And yeah, I just want you to tell me what you think, because sometimes I'll be tripping and sometimes I don't, but I know I ain't tripping. Okay, here's the story, and watch how it words everything. Watch what it says in the beginning, bro. Come on now.
Sure. Here's a fictionalized, narrative-style 10-minute story that explores the Epstein files and speculates on why Trump might not want to release them.
Fictionalized.
This is a dramatized
Remember
account
that.
meant for entertainment or commentary, not a statement of verified fact.
Remember that.
Title: The Black Book and the Silence, a 10-minute story about the Epstein files. It started with a flight log. Tattered pages from a decades-old manifest pulled from a seized private jet registered to one Jeffrey Epstein, the now infamous financier whose death in a Manhattan jail cell sparked 1,000 conspiracy theories and left a trail of questions no one in power seemed eager to answer. Among the names listed, celebrities, royalty, academics, presidents. Some had explanations, some didn't. But what mattered more than who was on the list was who wasn't being talked about. By 2024, the public had grown tired of whispers. There had been leaks, court records, testimony from victims. Yet the full Epstein files remained sealed, held in parts by the Department of Justice, the FBI, and scattered across jurisdictions like radioactive puzzle pieces. Every few months, a redacted document surfaced, usually heavily blacked out. Names were shielded, patterns were hidden. Then came the election year, and with it, a new hope, at least among those who still believed in transparency. Donald Trump, running once again for president, took the stage at a rally in Texas and said the words that reignited the fire. "If I get back in office, we will open the Epstein files." Every single name. The crowd erupted. It was a promise that cut us party lines, a rare issue where conspiracy theorists and ordinary citizens agreed. People wanted to know who had visited the island, who had been protected, and why. But months passed. Trump reclaimed power. The documents stayed sealed. The quiet pressure.
Now, what
Aides
sounds
said nothing
fake about that?
But inside Mar-a-Lago, sources said the calls were coming in fast. Old friends, former donors, political allies. "Don, you don't need to do this," one billionaire was overheard saying on a secure line. "You have enough enemies. Don't make more."
Now, that might
Another
be
call
fictional.
came from a media mogul. "There's
That
no
might
upside," he warned. "The public will forget, but the people you upset won't."
Might
Trump
be.
had always relished
But
being
where would
center
he
of
get
the
this
storm.
information from?
But this was different. These weren't Democrats he could insult on Twitter. These were power brokers on both sides whose secrets ran deeper than politics. And then there was the personal angle. Trump himself had known Epstein. Photos existed from the 90s and early 2000s. He had once famously said Epstein liked beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Later, he claimed he had a falling out with Epstein and banned him from Mar-a-Lago. But questions lingered. Was it just a party acquaintance? Had there been flights? Witnesses? Nothing definitive had emerged, but the uncertainty was enough to make any release risky. The intelligence angle. Then there was the national security issue. At least that's what his advisors told him. "Sir," one former intelligence official told him in a closed-door meeting, "if you release those files unredacted, you're going to compromise several operations, intelligence assets, possibly foreign governments. It's bigger than Epstein. It's about how power works." "Whose power?" Trump asked. The room fell silent. That was the moment he reportedly realized. This wasn't just about blackmail or underage girls. It was about control, leverage, secrets, the true currency of global elites. He had promised sunlight, but behind the scenes, the shadows were thicker than he'd imagined.
Wow.
The leverage game. Trump understood leverage. He had built his entire brand on it. If he had the files or access to them, he could threaten, he could hint, he could make people nervous.
I never
and
thought
perhaps
about
that was more valuable than releasing them.
I never
Behind
thought
closed doors,
about
he allegedly began using the files as bargaining chips. A senator rumored to be on a redacted list suddenly reversed his stance on a controversial bill. A major media network toned down its criticism. Lobbyists whispered of new deals being struck, with the island used as a not-so-subtle reference. The files weren't being suppressed, they were being weaponized. And in doing so, Trump had made himself more dangerous and more untouchable than ever. The public forgets. By mid-2025, the story had faded again. New scandals had taken its place. A data breach, a conflict overseas, inflation. The Epstein files were once again an online rumor, a ghost story in Reddit threads and dark corners of X. But every so often, a journalist would ask, what happened to the promise to release the files? Trump would smile. We're looking into it, he'd say. You wouldn't believe what's in there.
Okay. That fictional story that it said was fictional was so close to the truth. And sometimes I think, what if AI is actually everywhere? Like AI can listen to everything, so therefore it can be in places where we can't. What if it was actually in a couple of those rooms where something was talking? I'm just saying, this is what if. I ain't saying it happened, but I'm just saying, you just heard what it said. Let me know in the comments what's fictional about that. But then, moreover, it said, if you would like a non-fictional summary of Epstein files, what's publicly known, and why they haven't been released, I can provide that too. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to hear that too. Let me hear that. Now, I haven't listened to this part yet, but I'm gonna listen to it with you and see what it says. If it's anything close to what it just said before, because that was just mind blowing. Like, I never would have thought, okay, the ones in power or the ones higher up are all the ones that actually visited Epstein Island. Let's say they're in those files. It said he used them as a weapon against those. So no one, it would make sense why they just did the little court thing and everybody voted. Most of them voted no. 7-5. No, don't release the Epstein files. It would make sense, because just think of the people that are in those files. It's a lot of big name people. It's a lot of people that we probably know, heard about, run things. We know. So using it as a weapon is really what I feel like what's been going on. And it's crazy that AI would just, fictionally put this out there. So I'm just saying, you hearing it first from AI. I didn't say this. AI said this, and it said it was fictional. So I'm just saying, what you think about that. But let's go into further what it had to say.
Great. Here's a clear, non-fiction summary of what we know about the Epstein files and some possible reasons why they haven't been fully released, including speculation around Trump's role in it. What are the Epstein files? The term Epstein files refers broadly to a collection of flight logs from Jeffrey Epstein's private jets, visitor logs and surveillance footage from his properties, like Little St. James Island, testimonies and depositions from survivors and witnesses, FBI and DOJ case files, court documents from civil and criminal cases involving Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, Black Book, Epstein's address book containing names and contact info for hundreds of people, from celebrities to world leaders. Some of these have been made public through court orders, leaks, or journalism, especially by the Miami Herald, but many remain sealed or heavily redacted. What's already been released? Partially released documents include flight logs, show passengers on Epstein's planes between the 1990s and early 2000s. Names like Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Kevin Spacey, and others appeared. Trump appeared once in 1997 from Palm Beach to Newark, but not to the island. Ghislaine Maxwell trial documents. In 2024, several hundred names were unsealed, but often lacked direct allegations of wrongdoing. Some were just mentioned in emails, in the book, or as associates. FBI Vault release. In 2020, the FBI released heavily redacted files related to the 2008 investigation, showing that Epstein had informant ties and that federal prosecutors had gone unusually easy on him in the sweetheart deal that allowed him to avoid federal charges.
Wow.
Why haven't the full files been released? There are several potential reasons: legal, political, and strategic. 1. Protection of ongoing investigations. The DOJ has stated some material is withheld due to ongoing investigations, though critics say those probes are moving suspiciously slowly or being stonewalled. 2. Privacy and victim protection. Courts sometimes seal documents to protect the identity of survivors, especially minors, or to avoid re-traumatizing them. 3. National security concerns. There are unconfirmed reports that Epstein had connections with intelligence agencies, Mossad, CIA, etc. If true, releasing everything might compromise intelligence operations or reveal classified sources. 4. Embarrassment versus criminality. Not everyone in the files is accused of a crime. Some might be guilty of poor judgment, not criminal activity. Publicly linking them to Epstein without proof could create major legal issues or defamation risks. 5. Political implications. People named span both political parties. The files reportedly include current and former presidents, prime ministers, corporate CEOs, royalty, and media moguls.
A weapon.
That kind of release could destabilize institutions or raise uncomfortable questions about how elites protect one another. Where does Trump fit into this? Trump's known connections to Epstein. He knew Epstein in the 1990s, 2000s. They were seen at parties together in Florida and NYC. In 2002, Trump said, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. He's a lot of fun to be with. He likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." By 2007, Trump says he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago after a complaint involving a young girl, unverified. Trump was not charged or publicly accused in any major legal filing related to Epstein. Could Trump release the files? As president 2017 to 2021, Trump had the power to declassify or push the DOJ to release materials. He didn't. Even though Epstein was arrested in 2019 during Trump's presidency, no sweeping transparency effort was launched. Instead, Epstein died in federal custody under Trump's DOJ in 2019 under suspicious conditions. Why didn't Trump release the files? Here are a few possibilities. He may have feared implicating allies, donors, or even himself, even if only reputationally. He may have used the threat of release as leverage, politically or personally. He may have believed the intelligence agencies that warned against full disclosure. Or he just didn't prioritize it, despite public pressure. It's worth noting that no administration, Obama's, Trump's, or Biden's, has fully released the files, suggesting bipartisan resistance. Why the silence across the board? Many believe the Epstein story reveals something deeper and more uncomfortable. That when power, sex, money, and intelligence intertwine, justice becomes optional, and silence becomes policy. Until someone with real authority wants the truth out and isn't afraid of what's in it, the Epstein files may remain the most infamous locked box in modern political history.
Now, I'm just saying, it sounds like he said the same thing he said before. I'm like, bro, if they, like, that would make sense, right? To actually use the Epstein files as a weapon, not just, you know, this other thing, this big thing that's going on. Epstein did all this stuff. No, but to use them as a weapon in order to get people to do what you want, to get what you want out of people, to, you feel me, make everybody be up under your wing, like, you feel me, like, bro, that is crazy. That is crazy. That's crazy to me. But let me know what you think about that. And just type it in the comments. If you like the video, and man, I'ma holla next time.